very warm welcome. You're watching Times Now with me, Priya Bahal, and our focus remains on the state that perhaps is the biggest headline maker after yesterday's results. West Bengal has turned, and how? In a tectonic shift that reshapes the politics of not just Bengal but also nationwide, the BJP has turned the state saffron with over 200 seats in their kitty. The results show that it was a vote against Mamata Banerjee, a vote against the TMC, a vote against the misrule, the misadministration, and the BJP went in with the promise of change, and people of Bengal have chosen that change. Bengal had been one of the toughest frontiers for the BJP, and with this victory, BJP makes its presence as a truly pan-India party more visible. Here is how the numbers are looking right now. A through-and-through domination by the BJP. You can see the numbers playing out on your screens. Also, some of the seats where massive margins have ensured BJP's lead. TMC being reduced to below 100 mark, and there have been very few takers for the left and the Congress. Those have been the results of West Bengal. To decode what really happened with TMC in Bengal, I am now joined by Jawhar Sircar. He is a former Rajya Sabha MP. He was nominated from the TMC but had later quit the party. Sir, first of all, a lot of people don't know about your assessment of this. You have spoken about the two cannonballs. Just elaborate that for our viewers. What are these two cannonballs that you are crediting for TMC's loss?
You see, Mamata Banerjee has been on the receiving end for quite some time on the issues of corruption and unemployment, joblessness. Now, on corruption, Bengal has been hypersensitive. This sort of corruption happens in many other states, I am aware, because I have served half my life elsewhere. But where Bengal is concerned, it had always considered itself above corruption. In 15 years, she has legitimized corruption, if I may put it, and this has reached very annoying proportions. A person wants to repair a house, he has to pay. You want to do this, you have to pay. So it's an extortion come corruption racket, which people were up against. In fact, I was invited to join as their MP, which I did because of various reasons. But I couldn't last, I couldn't sort of convince them that this was the image they had in public. So I wrote it all out and quit after 3 years, halfway through my term. It was a warning, basically. Nobody gives up a Rajya Sabha seat unless one wants to give a shock therapy. That went in vain. The other issue, the second cannonball, is unemployment. And unemployment is a direct byproduct of underdevelopment. Bengal has been slipping over the last 10 years, 20 years, into a near Bimaru state. We used to look down upon Bimaru states, that is Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and the lot, where the standards of living, where the per capita income, where education and many other parameters were way below the national average. Bengal has not reached that catastrophic proportion, but is being viewed as a close contender for the Bimaru line. These two have been hurting the Bengali educated middle class, many of whom have migrated to other parts of India. And this time they took this occasion to vent out all their anger, suppress other emotions regarding a Hindi party. I mean, let's be very clear, it's viewed as a Hindu party, and there's some allergy about such things in Bengal. But this time the angst against Mamata Banerjee has been so overriding that they sort of underplayed the Hindu and all that stuff and voted in large numbers for her.
Okay. So you're saying, sir, if I've got it right, that pretty much it is anger and angst combined that led to Mamata Banerjee's ouster. But when she yesterday came out, you know, we are yet to get an official statement from the TMC that, okay, we have conceded defeat. Today around 4 p.m. she was supposed to address a press conference. Yesterday also she came out and cried, loot, loot, loot. Are you saying that irrespective of the allegations that the TMC is now making, that there was more than 100 seats were stolen, that SIR deletions are responsible for this, that central forces did some sort of a rigging in collusion with the EC and the BJP, TMC would have lost either way?
I think you're right. You know, I have been Chief Electoral Officer, conducted 2 parliament elections here, and I do concede that there's a point that the TMC has, and like the DMK has, about the systematic disenfranchisement of many citizens. Have you ever heard of a state going to elections with 35 lakh voters kept out of it? We have never heard of it. But Bengal, frankly, never rose in volcanic revolt. They said, "Jaane do, abhi, let's have the vote." So 35 lakh is the estimated amount, and 27 has been conceded by the Supreme Court. So we can't dispute these figures, who have been deliberately left out of the process, never mind how. So this was there. The election commissioner, chief election commissioner, practically declared what I would call president's rule, or well, with central forces everywhere.
But sir, do you see a problem with that? Because what you call president's rule is a security deployment, which also ensured that we have repolling in just 1 seat and some 77 odd booths, and that we have seen practically no deaths whatsoever in a state where your erstwhile party leaders say political violence is a culture. Whether TMC is there or not, it is irrelevant. How does it matter? There is nothing TMC can do about it. People die. That is how it is in the state.
So that's a very irresponsible statement for TMC to make, and it's not my ex-party. I never joined it. I'm a private individual who was invited as a speaker. But be that as it may, we congratulate the Election Commission for holding a death-free election polling on 2 days.
That is also because central forces were there. So it cannot necessarily, when you compare it to president's rule, aren't you in some way discrediting the effort that has been put in by those central forces?
No, I am not discrediting the show of force that was made. If they are made in your state or in front of your neighborhood, you'd get the sensitivity that I'm talking about. Anyway, they have ensured, but remember one thing, polling is not a wedding day. It's not only 1 day. It's a whole period. It's just started. It's just started. Polling is just over. There have been no deaths. But the amount of overexcitement and the explosive atmosphere in Bengal now worries me. And I hope that the same central forces.
Sorry for interjecting you, sir, but
they are able to
when you say explosive atmosphere, could you please elaborate?
Well, the BJP is on a very high and aggressive note. You can look at any footage of any TV you feel like.
But sir, high and aggressive are different.
Aggressive note,
don't you think?
And the TMC,
they have reasons to celebrate, but high and aggressive are different things. And none other than the Prime Minister himself yesterday underlined the fact that it is about change, not revenge. It was, in fact, Mamata Didi who went back on her 2011 slogan and said, this time we want revenge.
Listen, I am aware of the 2 terms. What I am trying to say before you sort of came in was that while the BJP is on a high and explosive mood, the TMC is not known to be a peaceful party. Remember that. The TMC has practiced violence as a part of its culture to fight the Marxists in the first place, and continue to do. I'll use the word depredations, political depredations on other parties for the last so many years. So My apprehension is based on the fact that both are known to be aggressive. That is why. And I'm sure, without getting into evidence and facts, that both have the capacity to inflict violence. Now, this is what I am bothered about, because at the end of the day, I was also a law and order officer. So we have to be careful for the next few days that celebrations and joy does not turn into bloodshed.
Yes.
Because as you put it very rightly, Bengal has a history of bloodshed.
That history has changed this time around, and one can really hope that it changes further. But sir, when you earlier said that... Yes. Please finish your point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that earlier when you said that, TMC is riddled with corruption, and the phrase that you've used is payment per square feet. Now, perhaps Mamata Banerjee and her party have paid the price for that. When you tried to flag it, who were these people who did not pay heed? Because a lot of feedback that we get from the ground is that while people were upset with the party, with the syndicate, as BJP calls it, Mamata Banerjee herself was somewhat in a buffer zone. People said, fine, Mamata is okay. It is the syndicate that operates under her that is a problem. So are these the people that stopped you from conveying the actual reality that eventually proved to be the nemesis of the TMC to Mamata Banerjee?
I think she was riding a tiger, frankly. I'll tell you the reason why. 34 years, nobody could remove the Marxists. One of the reasons was that they had 24/7 paid cadres, or cadres who were looked after. And nobody on earth had this sort of a thing. What Mamata did was to conjure a parallel setup with local clubs, local toughies, local protesters, and keep them at least somewhat on 24/7 mode. They were allowed to hold Durga Pujas, raise donations, and conduct Durga Pujas or any other pujas, and that became a source of nourishment and revenue. When this went out of hand, these cadres went on their, let us say, enrichment procedures.
Okay.
If she took stern action against them, they could always defect to the BJP, because the BJP has taken a lot of rotten elements from the TMC, a lot of rotten elements. Now, it's not, rottenness is not the monopoly of one party, it's across the board. But here we are concentrating on the TMC. So Mamata Banerjee was caught on the tiger's back. Even if she wanted to throw out some, she did not do so, because it would destroy the balance of power in a locality, in the equilibrium in an assembly constituency. They would go over to the other side and strengthen their hands, and hence it continued.
Now, in hindsight, sir, Mamata will
I still say that in 21, she did take steps in 2021.
Okay, now Mamata will have enough time on her hands. She's lost the state, sir. She's lost her own seat in Bhabanipur. In fact, Suvendu Adhikari yesterday said that it is time for Mamata to take political retirement. How do you see her political trajectory of hers and both of her parties? We haven't seen Abhishek Banerjee since yesterday. Not one statement after those series of threats that he kept issuing to voters, to HM, to everybody else. We haven't heard a word. Where do you see TMC and Mamata going on from here? Quick answer, sir.
Well, Bengal has this funny tradition that I've noticed from the Congress to the left days, from the left to the TMC days. In both these phases, I was very much an active officer, and we found that the goons of the original Congress easily switched over to the TMC. The many contractors and other fellows, the favor seekers of the Congress, just simply switched over to the left and became their brigade.
Yes.
When the left went, their goons, many of them, switched over to the TMC and strengthened the TMC.
Yes.
And many of the opportunity seekers who were hanging around and making life miserable for people of the TMC, I feel will switch over to the BJP unless the BJP takes a very purist view. That's first thing.
Okay.
Where regrouping is concerned, Mamata is in her 70s. And she's not the same lady one had seen in the 20s when
Yes.
she could take on. She has this tendency to go in for what he call fisticuffs and fights
Yes.
at the slightest hint. I wonder whether she would be able to do so. Abhishek has been talking aggressive for the last 4 to 5 years using his auntie's language,
Yes.
but has not come down to what we call the street fighting mode.
Okay, are we now going to
fighting.
see more of that? Mamata Banerjee has already been making a lot of allegations. Thank you, Mr. Sircar, for joining us with your insights on that. Very, very interesting. Speaking of traditions, there is another tradition in Bengal. Once a party comes in power, it stays for a while. So what path is BJP going to take in Bengal now? Badla nahi, badlav next is what PM had promised from yesterday. We take a very quick break.